If you're collecting Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, there's news you need to hear right now. The Social Security Administration just confirmed cost of living adjustments that could put an extra $1,583 in your pocket, and some of that money might be coming as a lump sum payment sooner than you think. Now, before you get too excited, let me walk you through exactly what's happening, who's getting what, and when you can expect to see this money. Because while the headlines are promising, the reality is a bit more nuanced than that eye-catching number suggests. Here's what we know for certain. The Social Security Administration announced a 2.5% cost of living adjustment for 2025. That might sound modest, but when you're dealing with over 70 million Americans receiving benefits, even small percentages translate to real money. The average Social Security retirement benefit is currently around $1,900 per month. A 2.5% increase means an extra $47.50 monthly, or about $570 per year. For someone receiving the maximum benefit of around $4,800 monthly, that 2.5% bump equals roughly $120 extra per month, or $1,440 annually. But here's where that $1,583 figure comes from, and why it's not as straightforward as it appears. The $1,583 represents the maximum potential increase for someone receiving the highest possible Social Security benefit. But let's be honest about what that means for most people. According to the Social Security Administration's own data, only about 3% of beneficiaries receive the maximum benefit. That requires earning at or above the Social Security wage base for 35 years and claiming benefits at full retirement age or later. For 2024, that wage base is $160,200, so we're talking about people who've consistently earned well into six figures throughout their careers. For the average retiree, the increase is closer to $570 annually. That's still meaningful money, but it's important to set realistic expectations. SSI recipients face a different calculation entirely. The maximum federal SSI benefit for 2025 is $967 for individuals and $1,450 for couples. The 2.5% increase means an extra $24 monthly for individuals and $36 for couples. Over a full year, that's $288 and $432 respectively. SSDI recipients see increases based on their individual benefit amounts, which vary widely depending on their work history and earnings before becoming disabled. Now, about those lump sum payments, this is where things get interesting and a bit complicated. Some beneficiaries might receive what appears to be a lump sum, but it's actually retroactive payments catching up to the new rate. The cost of living adjustment officially took effect in January 2025, but if there were delays in processing or if someone's benefits were being recalculated, they might receive several months of the increased amount at once. There's also the matter of Medicare Part B premiums, which are automatically deducted from Social Security benefits for most people. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services sets these premiums annually, and they don't always align perfectly with Social Security's cost of living adjustments. For 2025, the standard Medicare Part B premium is $185 per month, up from $174.70 in 2024. That's an increase of about $10.30 monthly, which eats into that cost of living adjustment. So while your gross Social Security benefit might increase by $47.50, your net increase after Medicare premiums could be closer to $37.20. This is why some people report receiving unexpected lump sums. It's often the Social Security Administration reconciling these premium adjustments and ensuring people receive the correct net benefit amount. Veterans benefits operate under entirely different rules, but they're often included in these discussions because many veterans also receive Social Security. VA disability compensation rates increased by 2.5% for 2025, matching Social Security's adjustment. For a veteran receiving the maximum individual unemployability rating, that could mean an extra $70.80 monthly. Veterans with dependents see larger increases due to additional allowances. The key difference is that VA benefits aren't subject to the same Medicare deductions that affect Social Security, so veterans might see more of their increase in their actual take-home amount. The 2.5% cost of living adjustment for 2025 is actually lower than what we've seen recently. In 2024, the increase was 3.2%. In 2023, it was a substantial 8.7%, the largest in over 4 decades. These adjustments are based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW. The Social Security Administration calculates the increase by comparing the average CPIW for the third quarter of the current year with the same period from the previous year. The smaller increase for 2025 reflects cooling inflation compared to the sharp price spikes we saw in 2022 and early 2023. While that's generally good news for the economy, it does mean smaller benefit increases for recipients. There's ongoing debate about whether CPIW accurately reflects the spending patterns of Social Security recipients, who tend to spend more on healthcare and housing than the general working population. Some economists argue for using the CPIE, which focuses specifically on elderly consumers, but that would require congressional action to implement. Here's where I need to inject some realism into this conversation. While any increase in benefits is welcome news for recipients, a 2.5% adjustment may not keep pace with the actual cost increases that many seniors face. Healthcare costs, in particular, tend to rise faster than general inflation. The Medicare Part B premium increase I mentioned earlier is just one example. Prescription drug costs, supplemental insurance premiums, and out-of-pocket medical expenses often outpace cost of living adjustments. Housing costs in many areas are also rising faster than 2.5% annually. For seniors on fixed incomes, even small increases in rent, property taxes, or home maintenance costs can quickly eat into any benefit increase. One factor that often gets overlooked in these discussions is how state taxes and policies affect the real value of Social Security increases. 13 states don't tax Social Security benefits at all: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, Wyoming, Illinois, Iowa, Mississippi, and Pennsylvania. Recipients in these states keep the full value of their increases. Other states have varying levels of taxation on Social Security benefits, which can reduce the effective value of cost of living adjustments. Some states offer exemptions or partial exemptions based on income levels, but the rules vary significantly. The Social Security Trustee's most recent report projects that the trust fund reserves will be depleted by 2034 if no changes are made. That doesn't mean benefits disappear entirely. Incoming payroll taxes would still fund about 80% of scheduled benefits, but it does cast a shadow over future cost of living adjustments. Congress will eventually need to address this funding shortfall, either through benefit modifications, tax increases, or some combination of both. The political reality is that significant changes are unlikely until we're much closer to that 2034 deadline. In the meantime, beneficiaries can expect annual cost of living adjustments to continue, though the amounts will fluctuate based on inflation trends. If you're receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, here's what you should actually do with this information. First, Check your benefit statements carefully over the next few months. The Social Security Administration should send updated statements showing your new benefit amount. If you spot discrepancies, contact them promptly. Second, review your Medicare coverage during the annual open enrollment period. Premium increases might offset some of your cost of living adjustment, but you might also find more affordable plan options. Third, don't count on any lump sum payments unless you have specific reason to expect retroactive adjustments. The regular monthly increases are what you can reliably plan around. Finally, consider how this increase fits into your overall financial picture. An extra $50 or $100 monthly might not sound like much, but it can add up to meaningful money over time if you're strategic about how you use it. The reality behind those exciting headlines is more modest than the $1,583 figure suggests, but it's still positive news for millions of Americans. Most Social Security recipients will see increases in the $40.70 monthly range, which translates to $500.800 annually. That's not life-changing money for most people, but it's not insignificant either. In an era where many seniors are struggling with rising costs, every bit helps. The bigger picture question is whether these annual adjustments are adequate to help seniors maintain their purchasing power over time. The evidence suggests they might not be, particularly for healthcare and housing costs that tend to rise faster than general inflation. But for now, the system is working as designed. Benefits are increasing, recipients will see more money in their accounts, and the cost of living adjustment process continues to provide at least some protection against inflation. Whether that's enough is a question each recipient will have to answer for themselves, based on their own financial situation and needs. What's certain is that staying informed about these changes and understanding the real numbers behind the headlines is the best way to make smart decisions about your financial future.